raising the two of us, but many things have changed since then. He is a practicing physician, Dr. Christopher Hillman, and he practices medicine in the eastern part of the world, Dr. Christopher Hillman. And I don't know what he's talking about. He knows he's speaking, so let's go. I don't want to leave this place.
Boy, I tell you, I've come a long way. I actually live in the mountains of Tibet. It takes me about 5 days to get there. I have a short, brief thing to tell you that I think you might find quite interesting. Pretty much, Rosemary has raised me like she raised her Billy and Bobby and also Pete. But our lives were intertwined after my mother passed away. And for some time I stayed with them and she fed me. And I was thinking about what I could say that could give you a crystal picture of her relationship with me. And at that time when she was most pivotal in my life, there was, does anybody remember Billy Paul?
I do.
Well, he had 3 songs that I thought might be helpful. The first one I thought was interesting. It was Me and Mrs. Jones. Remember that, Me and Mrs. Jones? Okay. The second one was Only the Strong Survive. And then the third one, many might not know, but Thank God You Saved Me. Okay. Now, how does that relate to me? Well, when I was with the family, actually Billy and Bobby were in college, and I sort of like was a 9th grade dropout. So, the 3 things that she said to me, because our conversations we used to have all the time in the kitchen, in between the burgers she used to cook for us, were that Christopher, you can't be anybody else other than yourself. And essentially she was telling me, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. So right now, the great blessing that I have is that usually I'm in Tibet. I'm not even here. How I am here this time of year is unusual because in the mountains it's so cold I can't be there during the wintertime. I have to travel around during the winter. So here I am celebrating her 100th birthday. So how do you say thank you to someone that has taught you so much? You thank them by living the life that they instructed you. So what is a real matriarch? A matriarch is someone that takes care not only of their own children, but other children. So she raised me, and she gave me the suggestions. Keep going. Think positive of yourself. Don't try to be other people, be yourself. Well, I can say thank you because of the life that I live. Right now I practice medicine in the mountains of Tibet. I provide free health care. No one pays a penny for it. After finishing getting my GED, I went to college. Then I went to medical school and I flunked out. Then I went back. It took me 25 years to go from the beginning to the end of medical school. This past Wednesday, I just returned from Harvard with my 4th scholarship in human rights. I got 4 scholarships to go to Harvard. I just left this past Wednesday. So to say thank you is to live the life that she instructed. So here I am now, saying thank you to a wonderful woman that's had an extraordinary impact on my life, and my thank you is that I'm doing what she taught me. And people in the mountains of Tibet get health care because of her great impact on me. Thank you, Rosemary. Oh, yeah. In the Tibetan culture, it's customary to give a kata, a K-A-T-A, a scarf. When I was in India, I met the Dalai Lama, and he asked me to go to Tibet, who I know rather closely. And all the doctors that were there that were volunteering at his hospital, he said, he asked all of us to go. 18 months after I visited the Dalai Lama at his house, I was in Tibet practicing medicine, and I've been in Tibet for 11 years providing free health care. So this is the kata. I like to put it around your neck and say thank you.
Oh, you wear it a little different. keyhole is? Straight?
Oh, wait, so really?
Who's this, yours?
Yeah.
I got it first. I took two. Hello. You ain't taking no pictures. Want me to give orders?
Did he ever what?
I thought I can't get a sit down.
My sister Yvette. My sister, my young sister.
Okay, I want to thank Dr. Hillman and Sister for being here today. My family, I remember this as my family's full of storytelling. You saw the scene about our dad, our dolly, and my mom. Obviously, everybody tells stories. Probably the most profound storyteller in the family, the one that I spent most time with, and particularly recently, because she's here in Mount Clear, myself, is Miss Alberta Stone. She is actually my cousin, but she was raised, spent a lot of time with Rosemary and her two siblings, so she's got a lot of stories. We're asking so just a little bit in essence of time, but this Miss Alberta Stone is my mom's first cousin?
Niece.
Okay, my cousin. That's good. But here we go. Thank you. So you need the mic.
No, I won't. All right, fine. Wait a minute. I got to leave. Okay. After seeing that on the audio, what's the name of video? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me, Barbara? No? Here. I mostly remember as a child living at 72 Valley Road. The reason we moved to 72 Valley Road was because when all the older people, their parents had died, my father, who was not very good at chaperoning, but anyway, he decided that the three girls, young women, needed to be chaperoned and needed protection from all the suitors that they had. So we moved to 72 Valley Road. It was the most exciting time that I ever had in my life. Everything was going on. I can't even remember, I can't even tell you all that went on. But for an 8-year-old, when I started first going up there, I had this sophisticated aunts that are all in their teenagers. And you got to remember that Aunt Rosemary was 18, and I was only 8 years old. But I'm 90 now, so the distance doesn't seem as far as it did from 8. So, you know, it was very exciting to see all these young men coming to see these ladies. And I used to hang on the stairs and listen to everything. And I remember Aunt Rose when she was taking music lessons from, what was that man's name? What was his name? Well, anyway, you couldn't sing either. He was really just taking Grandma Allen's money because she really couldn't sing. And I think also because we had a piano, and I don't think any of them played the piano either. So Grandmother Allen always had a reason for doing things, so that is why I think she chose Aunt Rose to learn to sing. And I think it was only one song that she sang, and I can't remember because it wasn't very good, and I think she'll admit that. So the most important thing to me when I was growing up was cinnamon buns. Out on Bluefield Avenue was a Montclair bakery, because I can't talk well because everybody else got to talk. But anyway, there was this bakery on the avenue, and every Saturday we would go out for Aunt Rose, who was 18, she's grown now. And we would get 6 cinnamon buns, and one for good, no, that was a dozen. Anyway, 6 cinnamon buns. And she would take 3, because she bought them. I think it was like 20 cents, maybe, 15 cents. And then Dolly got one, Carrie got one, and I got one. But the funny thing about this is, she tells me she can't find them in South Carolina. So the first thing she did when she came to visit me, I live on Grove Street in Montclair, and the Marlboro Bakery is down the street. She went and got 3 dozen cinnamon buns to take back to South Carolina. I don't think they really ever made it back to South Carolina. I think she ate them all before. Did any of them? No, she probably ate them all. Yeah, over time. So anyway, there's so many tales that I could tell you about 72 Valley Road and how exciting it was for me growing up as a youngster then. And I'm so happy that Aunt Rose is still here. She's given me wonderful advice over the years, and she taught me one thing: don't look back, always look forward. So I hope that someday you can show us.
Thank you. Next we actually have Alberta's daughter, Dr. Valerie Soul. I'm going to let her introduce herself. She's my very accomplished cousin. We love her dearly. And it's good to see you here. She's usually traveling around the world doing her work. Dr. Valerie Soul.
I wasn't really planning to introduce myself because I really didn't want to say very much about myself, but I'm so honored to be here for Aunt Rose's 100th birthday, and really quite freaked out to be following my mother, who's always been a better speaker, more funny, more entertaining than I am, but anyway, I'll do my best. But I think my experience was being the next generation and sort of seeing the house that was Aunt Rose's house, and really growing up down in the South End in Aunt Rose's home on, what's the name of that street? Pierpont Road, is that right? On Pierpont Drive, and really similar experience, but now Aunt Rose was the mom, and really the perfect mom, with her 3 unbelievably wonderful sons, who I love to think of as my brothers, Billy, Bobby, and Peter. And it was just so fun watching all the teenagers that they had going in and out of the house, and learning the Temptation songs through them, and the Four Tops, and their best attempts to get me to dance, which I really never learned to do until I was in medical school. But they tried hard, and we had a great time. And we had a great time going to Sag Harbor together, and I remember Bobby teaching me to swim, and watching what a good mom Aunt Rose was, making pancakes and waffles and everything for all of us, and making sure that we all always had a great time. Aunt Rose's advice was always, though, the very best thing. I think what I found so wonderful about Aunt Rose was the inspiring career she had all those years teaching in a really challenging setting in Newark, but being so dedicated to the students. It was a time that many minority kids weren't good in math, didn't care about math, but she really inspired them in that area, got them to go into math and science. And then when she was leading that school for the unwed mothers, I found that so inspiring, and it was actually one of the first things that made me decide I wanted to go into medicine. And I loved the way Aunt Rose's advice was always both sides. If you did something great, she would always say to me, "That's wonderful, Valerie, I knew you could do it." If I messed up something, she'd say, "Well, it doesn't matter, don't even worry about that." And it was just so accepting. And she was always so wise about thinking there'll always be tomorrow. You can always try harder the next time. And so I found that her acceptance, her wisdom, and her inspiring role model were just more than anyone could ever ask for in grandmother. And she wasn't even my grandmother, she was my great aunt, but truly the matriarch of an amazing family, which I'm so proud to be a member of. And it means so much to be here with you for your 100th birthday. Happy, happy birthday, Aunt Rose. I love you very much.
About some very good stories. I'm going to bring, before we assemble the 3 brothers at the stand, they think they're just going to sit there and eat, but, you know, it's going to be a little bit more than that. I want to thank everybody for coming. She has many, many friends here. I'm going to have my stepson. A lot of people don't know Kamal, and a lot of people do. And Kamal is another person whose pearls of wisdom that Grandma has imparted, or my mother has imparted, over the period of time to produce a certain impact and result, and we have a great story of success together. So